Warner Brothers and Paramount, the two heavyweights of the cartoon industry responsible for decades of childhood memories.
I hate this channel.
No!
Who doesn't have a memory of watching a show like SpongeBob, a regular show, after a long day of school? Then, all of a sudden, cartoons weren't enough for these companies. They decided to chase the bag in video games to varying success. And no IP was safe. If they owned it, there was a game of it. And for a long time, it felt like none of these games really hit the mark with a lot of people. Sure, I have a lot of memories, and I'm sure you do too, of playing games with characters from movies and TV shows. But they always felt a little bit off to me. They didn't really feel like a Mario game. And it felt like that for a long time, until recently with the release of Nick All Star Brawl and Multiversus. Recently, Multiversus and Nick All Star Brawl made their debuts, both being a fighting game that neither studio has really tried before. And no, I'm not counting the 2D ones that Nickelodeon has done a lot in the past. Please never play them. They really are that bad. These two games, though, are a brand new spin on the fighting game genre that we've never seen, except like 5 times by Nintendo. Oh, and there was a Kung Fu Panda one, and I think there's one with The Rock, and there's another one on Steam where you could download any character. Okay, I get it. There's a lot of Smash clones out there, but these two are very special in their own unique ways. So let's compare and contrast and figure out which one really is better. And the best place to start is the character rosters. With the popularity of fighting games, it's usually a no-brainer for a studio chock full of IPs to make a huge collaboration, since you can have such a big roster as your selling point. You can instantly boost sales of any game if you slap on an extra character or two that people know and love. And I don't blame them. I mean, who wouldn't want to see some of these matchups? Warner Brothers has a lot of IPs to work with and plenty of ways to go about a Smash Bros. Game. So they did the sensible thing and picked from the best they had. From Scooby-Doo to DC superheroes, it's a huge roster. One thing Multiversus did right was making their starting cast very widespread, and picking less obscure characters for the starting roster, which is something the original Smash Bros. Did as well. Not to mention voice acting in the earliest releases to the public. Remember this, as it'll be important later. Now let's check out the Nick All Star Brawl roster. You got the solid picks, you got your SpongeBob, your Ninja Turtles, and some pretty interesting picks like Invader Zim, Danny Phantom, Rugrats, Avatar. These are all great picks. Even Ren and Stimpy is here, which is pretty interesting. I mean, I didn't expect that. Cat Dog, that's pretty cool too. Whatever this thing is. Helga from Hey Arnold, but not Hey Arnold. The Loud House, that's the new cartoon they went with. I mean, I guess Lincoln is fine, but Lucy too? I'm not feeling that one. I know both Multiversus and Nick All Star Brawl had odd picks for the new cartoon reps, but at least with Steven Universe, it doesn't feel like they're taking up any roster spots. At least they pick like the 2 most important Steven Universe characters, and they're different enough to work in this game. And I doubt Steven Universe will be like Fire Emblem in the Smash series and take up a ton of slots. But the Loud House? Worst case scenario, 9 more sisters. Yes, I know I'm counting the baby, but move over Fire Emblem because the Loud House will out-represent you in a fighting game. In all seriousness, they should have gave that slot to like Timmy Turner or Jimmy Neutron. Like, we got Danny Phantom, so it's not Butch Hartman or anything, so what the hell? And yes, Hugh Nation did rise up and get him in, but this would have been so much sweeter if the boy was in there too. And overall, regarding roster, I think Multiversus spread it out enough to have that "holy crap, it's that guy from that show I used to watch" game effect. And Nick All Star Brawl does appeal to an older audience and a newer one, but the bridge between the two is a bit thinner than in Multiversus. Smash handled this pretty well by having reps from every corner of gaming inside Smash Ultimate. And with over 80 characters on a roster, you're guaranteed to find some character you have some kind of connection with. From Minecraft Steve to Princess Peach, it's a guarantee you'll find your main. And besides a character roster, what else do you need for a fighting game to be successful? Well, you need good gameplay. I know all of Twitter was interested in this game and they lost their shit when SpongeBob started wave dashing like he's on Final Destination. But from a gameplay standpoint, it was your general run-of-the-mill Smash clone. And that's not a bad thing. For example, the characters feel very responsive in Nick All Star Brawl, and honestly, I'm all for it. It isn't very punishing, and it encourages you to learn your character's moveset and stuff. It never felt like a character was impossible to learn, and I could grasp them in about a match or two. Each character, except for Lucy, feels unique enough to keep a roster slot, and especially the DLC characters. Hugh and Jenny are very fun, and while the game modes are pretty simple, some of them stand out. You got arcade mode, where you battle multiple fighters in a row and then you end it on a hard final fight. Sports mode, which is pretty cool. Like, I can't even lie about this one. I didn't know I needed to play soccer with Reptar until I played this game, but yeah, you should. The rest of the modes are like quick play and just standard experiences for Smash games. Stocks, timed, you know the drill. Multiversus, from a gameplay standpoint, is both the most frustrating experience known to man and the most enjoyable. A ton of characters are easy to pick up, which makes for some fun matches. Even if there are annoying characters that plague online, you can still stun on anyone with anybody you choose, and it could be the closest match ever seen or a total wash. This game has a solid quick play system with an emphasis on 2v2 above all modes. A lot of characters have moves that combo off each other or buff other players, so you can have matchups like LeBron and the Iron Giant absolutely destroy, and vice versa. All the characters have a very different moveset, even the sword fighters do, which is really nice. I will still slander sword fighter users though. Honestly, it's an even split in gameplay, only because Multiversus doesn't have an arcade mode yet. Okay, let's talk about the stages. You know, the stages in Nick All Star Brawl are very enjoyable and very immersive. I really feel like I'm fighting in a cereal commercial here. And I will admit, the stages you'd expect to be good are really good. All the SpongeBob ones, the Ninja Turtle ones pretty cool, the Avatar ones, very nice stages. And the rest are just kind of there, they do the job, you know? Things like the Flying Dutchman ship, the junkyard, and that one where you're driving in a bus 70 miles down a busy city street is pretty cool. They do enough to keep me entertained though, and immerse me. Like, honestly, a very strong stage pull and an even better atmosphere. Even if some of the stages are clones, even if some of the stages are Battlefield and Final Destination clones, I still find them pretty immersive. Multiversus doesn't really have that many maps out the gate, but what they have so far is pretty solid. You got Trophy's Edge, which is nice from an atmosphere and a lore standpoint. The Batcave is the Batcave, you can't really mess that up even if you wanted to. The Haunted House plays very similar to Luigi's Mansion from Smash Ultimate, but with some extra gimmicks that make it very fun. The Steven Universe map is fine, love the nods to the show. Cheeseburger Backpack from a better era of Steven Universe. The Rick and Morty map's pretty good, and it's the origin map of the fabled LeBron James Infinite, but it's really loud. Like, this is probably my favorite and least favorite map because it's so loud. And then there's Treefort. Dear God. The 2v2 map is one of the most infuriating maps around, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Honestly, it's an even split between maps. For as little as Multiversus has, they are high quality. And not to say that Nick All Star Brawl doesn't have high quality maps, but a lot of them just don't do enough to really resonate with me and be a really good map. They're all just satisfactory. Except Glove World. You know, fighting on Glove World really does change a man. And last but certainly not least, the music, because as we all know, music is a very important part of video games. It can really set the tone and increase the immersion of a game. So, how do these two games do it? Nick All Star Brawl does a really good job with its opening theme by making me feel like I'm a kid again watching Nickelodeon. It really does feel like a Nickelodeon game. It gives me that late 90s, early 2000s feel, which is really good because that's what I think about when I think of Nickelodeon. The rest of the music is pretty solid. There are a few bangers here and there, and I think that's satisfactory. It did what it needed to do, no questions asked. Compare this to Multiversus, where the intro music makes me feel like I'm walking into something bigger than I realize, and it's really cool. It makes me feel like I'm in a superhero movie almost. And honestly, besides that, I think the music does just enough as well. Now, I know a lot of people don't really care for the music in this game yet, and honestly, I can agree, but there are a few tracks here and there that really elevate the gameplay. They all do enough to replicate what map they're trying to play for, and that's about it. It's satisfactory. The only two that really wow me are the Steven Universe one and the Rick and Morty one, only because the themes are remixed and it's just the main intro theme for the two shows respectively, and that's about it. It just, there's not much to say music-wise for either of these games. They both do the job. And in the end, I think after all the discourse we've had between these two games, It ultimately boils down to one thing: the pricing. Multiversus is free. Compare that to Nick All Star Brawl that retailed for $50 on release. Now it's $20, but I don't really care about that. It retailed itself for $50 on top of a $15 DLC bundle. It's kind of starting to make sense why people think Multiversus is better than Nick All Star Brawl, isn't it? Not many people are going to go out of their way to buy the $50 game just because it has Nickelodeon characters. I don't even think that Multiversus would be as popular as it is if it was $50 on launch. Hell, you sell this game for like $5, $10, I still don't think as many people would be playing it as they are right now. Being a free game just automatically hypes it up more because everybody gets a chance to play it. Why would I pay $50 and then turn around and pay another $15 for the additional 3 characters when I could go play the free one and get new characters almost monthly? Season 1 has already announced 4 new characters, and that's just at the beginning, okay? I don't even think people played Nick All Star Brawl like that for more than a month. And that's because it just didn't ship out correctly. It didn't have items. It didn't have voice acting. And look at Multiversus. They don't really use items, but they have full voice acting already. They even have characters as announcer packs, for Christ's sake. It's amazing to see. But then again, you look at Nick All Star Brawl and you just can't help but wonder what would have happened if they did things differently. They got labeled the Smash Killer. And when you label something the Smash Killer, it better be really, really good or people are going to drop it almost immediately. That's why games like Kung Fu Panda, the Ultimate Showdown, aren't exactly popular anymore because everyone thought that game was going to be the Smash Killer and look what happened. In all seriousness though, I think Multiversus is the better game between Nick All Star Brawl and Multiversus, respectively. And I don't think Nick All Star Brawl is bad, but I do think they could have handled it a lot better. Let me know what you think down in the comments below because I love reading what you guys have to say and I love hearing all the feedback you guys give me on my videos. Thank you so much for all the support recently. It means a lot to me from the bottom of my heart. So be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you liked about this video. Let me know what you didn't like. Brains.